It is the conference finals. Rockets, Suns, Bulls, Celtics. This will be interesting. Game 1, let's get to it. Much anticipated. Chicago and Boston pick this thing up. 8 minutes to go. Amari Swift with the triple cuts it to a 6-point game. But the Bulls be the Bulls. Big triple there from Joshua Barnes pushes it to an 8-point game. This goes further. It's Javon Stokes saying, hey, let's get it to 9. Still a 9-point game. Stokes says double figures. I love it. The triple in the face of Jalen Justice. Now, Jalen Justice, he's gonna return the favor. Beautiful step back triple. Gets the Celtics within 9. But from that point on, it's all Chicago. Javon Stokes backing down. Justice in the paint. Then follows it up with a beautiful fadeaway jumper. Pushes it back to 11. Lead now at 12. And here comes Stokes into the paint. Again, a little fade over the top. And it is all Chicago down the stretch. 118-111 win in Game 1. So we head to the other side. Rockets and the Suns. Can the Suns keep this thing rolling? Probably not. Big triple there from the Houston Rockets. They try to get rolling and a stuff inside from Ace Jefferson on Jacoby Cleaves. This thing was never really close, due in part because, well, the Suns can't really hit jumpers. And then it's also that man, Darnell Gist, going inside, 15-point lead. Still a 15-point lead, trying to find a comeback. Another clank shot, and the Rockets, too many options. Malik Roll burying the triple there. Pushes it to 16, 14-point game here. How about Ray Peterson? He won't get it. Darnell Gist, though, you know how the man operates. Inside, cooking on Lawrence Marcotta. Dominant 131-16 win for the home squad, Houston, in Game 1. Let's get back to Game 2. Can the Celtics rally this thing back? They lead by 3 with 2 minutes to go. And Jay Kingston says double it up, make it 6. Next time down, Tyrell Kemp just a step inside the arc. And hold on, here comes Boston. 8-point lead. But the Bulls do they have answers? They might not have answers. Dakota Motley does not have an answer there on Tyrell Kemp. 9-point game kick out. Nico Ramjak also can't get the triple to go. And it's a big night from Jay Kingston. 6 3-pointers. And the Celtics take a 116-107 win because the Bulls can't hit shots down the stretch. Let's head to the other side. This one, we aren't going to get so lucky. Houston, all signs pointing up. Up on top by 21. Here's Dede McDyess finishing through the foul. The Suns try to make some type of a comeback. Cade Cunningham in the paint to do that one. But this is just Houston being Houston. We talk about the Rockets having waves of offense. Cole Herringgoody, that's a tough finish from a man 6 inches shorter than Cade Cunningham. Cunningham will get him back on the other end with a triple here, but that does not matter because Houston is going to steamroll Dede McDyess too quick on Anthony Edwards, and it's a 2-0 series lead. Flex on him, young man. So home court advantage established back for the Celtics, but they need to protect it in Game 3. Early third quarter. Jalen Justice going to work on Javon Stokes. Just a beautiful up and under there from the former Finals MVP. It's a 5-point game. The Celtics been trailing for much of Game 3. They try to get even closer. Xavier Carter gets them within 3. But then the Bulls beat the Bulls. Driving to the rack, Aaron Larson finding Rowan Jamison wide open for the triple. And then late third quarter, Larson to Jamison connection again. This one as the shot clock is winding down in the face of Jalen Justice. The Bulls dominate. 33 points in a second quarter rampage and a 139-110 win. That 33-12 run in the third quarter, the difference in this one. So now the Suns backs against the wall, down 2-0, down 2 points in Game 3. Jacoby Cleaves says it's time for me to take over. Dunk there, ties it up, triple the next time down, and Phoenix on top by 3. But again, the Rockets have answers. This time, Jeff Davidson, one half of the El Jefes in Houston. It's a 2-point lead. Then Dede McDyess, who has been rolling in these postseasons ever since that first round struggle against the Kings, and it's a 1-point advantage for the Rockets. Now, the sun's not dead just yet. Jacoby Cleaves inside, but now it's a 3-point advantage. And Darnell Gist, this is what no other big man in the NBA can do. Pull-up triple on the wing, and the Rockets are on top by 6. One last chance for something. How about a slam on the finalist for MVP from Jacoby Cleaves? But all for naught because a 99-92 win as the Rockets hold on late and are up 3-0. So now, 2-1 series lead, Chicago and Boston. Do the Bulls have it in them? Javon Stokes says, I sure do. Triple here, and the blowout is on. 131-104. The Bulls dominate on the road. Great night from Joshua Chapman. And the Chicago Bulls are now 1 win away from making it to back-to-back NBA Finals. They blew a 3-1 lead in this spot a year ago to the Brooklyn Nets. We'll see if that's going to happen again. Will the Rockets have a chance to make their first NBA Finals since 2029? And Darnell Giss says, I'm actually not going to let this opportunity pass me by. Going to work there on Lawrence Marcoda. It is an 18-point game, and it feels like this one was Jacoby Cleaves running out of gas. Tough night from Cleaves. Tougher night here for Zane Bennett. This time he's just going to get disrespectfully blocked by Darnell Gist out the backside. After that, he tries to drive again, and this time it's Ace Jefferson with the turn aside and a 139-102 win. Houston headed to the NBA Finals. Who will they face? Will it be the Boston Celtics if they can rally back, or will it be Javon Stokes and the defending Eastern Conference champions? Javon Stokes says, yeah, I got an idea on who this is going to be. Up by 8 here after the missed free throw from Amari Swift and the transition. Find that man, Joshua Chapman, who's had a fantastic series. Open triple pushes the lead to 11. Still 11, Dakota Motley says, let me find my big man. Roll to the rack, Cavante Kennard, and a finishing off game. Gentlemen sweep. 117-107. The Bulls are back to the NBA Finals looking for redemption. The conference finals were not as exciting as I'd hoped, as we had hoped for. The Bulls made quick work of the Celtics outside of one little game 2 entertainment, and then the Suns just never showed up against Houston. Let's start on that side where Houston is just deep, and for all the knocks on this group of they can't possibly win an NBA championship because they're too young, I find that hard to believe, obviously, because this is a group right now that is just went through the Warriors and the Suns, the only 2 teams over the last 5 years, albeit the Warriors 4 times, but the only 2 teams to win the Western Conference over the last half decade. And now the Rockets went up 3-0 on both of them, combined to go 8-2 in those 2 series. Darnell Gist, MVP finalist, finished 3rd in the MVP voting. Doesn't matter. He was fantastic. It's like the center game, there's not a lot of elite centers. And you look at the matchups that he had in this playoffs, R.J. Wallace beat up on. Russell Kingston gave him some trouble, but prevailed. And then Lawrence Marcoda just never had an answer from Phoenix. The thing about Houston was that they just overwhelmed with their depth. And I'll be honest, the Rockets and the Bulls are very similar to one another in that they have decided to go all in on depth. They used all their cap space to get that depth, and now they're just cooking. And we can have the postmortem on what are you doing, Phoenix, but I think you got to first just say the challenge that Phoenix had in this series is you just could not stop everybody. You couldn't stop all of Darnell Gist, then Dede McDyess, then Ace Jefferson, who actually had a bad series, then Jeff Davidson, then Cole Herringody, then Malik Roll, then Ray Peterson. This team is so deep, and they showed that time and time again in this matchup against Phoenix. It's going to be really tough for somebody to slow them down, but I think Chicago is well positioned to do it. On the other side, with Phoenix, there's going to be a lot of questions about where does this team go. Jacoby Cleaves, trade him. He's not going to get traded. First off, he's got 5 years left on his deal on an extension that he signed last season or earlier this season after Cade Cunningham re-signed. But this team is old. This team does not have secondary playmakers. Cade Cunningham looks like a 33-year-old former All-NBA guard. He had good nights, but he had bad nights. Zane Bennett was not good in this series. He had a good game 4, but that's pretty much it. This team, Jacoby Cleves looked like he gave up after game 3 because game 4 he was terrible. 3 for 13, ended up with 13 points in that game. But it's because he had 40 in game 1, 30 in game 2, 28 in game 3, and got no support. So I don't know what your Phoenix, you don't have your draft picks because you made a number of moves to try to get better. A lot of those picks and a good player in Marcus Young Jr. you traded away from Malik Hightower, who then left for Charlotte. Maybe he's not the greatest, but he's better than what you've got. Anthony Edwards is on a declining deal that's going to pay him more than $20 million next year, but he's 33 himself. Lawrence Marcotte is getting paid more than $30 million a year to be a serviceable center, but not an elite one. And then, of course, Cade Cunningham has a multi-year deal that he signed last summer, 4 or 5 years. You're going to have to get creative to try to add pieces, but I don't know that you have the incentives to try to do that. So you've got a 28-year-old peak of his powers, Jacoby Cleves, but you haven't surrounded him with anything. And so I find it's going to be interesting to see if Phoenix can make a move to try to make this team better. I don't know what that move is because I don't think what they have is interesting to anybody. But you have to do something because you're not going to trade Jacoby Cleves. You have no draft pick control to be able to do that. But this was a resounding failure for the Phoenix Suns, which we should have seen coming, right? Because they played with their food in the first round against Oklahoma City, fell down, let themselves fall down 3-1 before having to rally back with 3 really difficult games. Then you get up 3-1 on the Venom. You needed to close them out in game 5, and you left the door open. You played 2 series that went longer than they should have or forced you to play very high stress, need to come back because if we lose this, it's over games. And then you're going to run into the buzzsaw. So they told us this is who they were, that they were really good. They might very well be the second best team in the Western Conference. But Houston just showed they're that much better than the rest of the league, or than the rest of the conference. And Phoenix has some work to do if they want to get that first championship and get a title for Jacoby Cleves. Let's head Bulls and the Celtics. Let's start with the victors, because Chicago, everything we said about Houston, Chicago, that +1, right? Chicago and Houston are like big brother, little brother. Big brother being Chicago because they've been there. But back to the NBA Finals where they just look dominant against the Celtics because they have, same thing, waves and waves of options. Javon Stokes, he starts off the series high volume, but he doesn't have to be high volume all the time. That's the beauty of this team. You have a great series from Joshua Chapman. They outdueled. They won this series, so it's a historic series for Chicago because they became the first team since the 2019 Golden State Warriors when they played the Portland Trail Blazers before ultimately losing to the Raptors in the finals. The first team to have 3 games of 48% or better three-point shooting in a single conference finals. That's what Chicago did. 2 games were better than 50% in this series, and that's despite the fact that they got beat from the free throw line in the same way that the Celtics dominated the free throw line against the Brooklyn Nets. But unlike Brooklyn, who was not a dead-eye three-point shooting team, the Chicago Bulls are and were, and they overwhelmed them. There's going to be plenty of conversation about Jalen Justice. Really bad series. He had a good game 2, but goes 11 for 30 in game 3, 9 for, I think, 23 or 24 in game 4. Not a great series from Jalen Justice, but let's give credit to the Chicago Bulls because they put together a defensive scheme that took the ball out of Jalen Justice's hands and or were so disruptive to the rest of these Celtics that prevented Boston from really getting going, right? The Celtics have 2 on-ball creators. It's Jalen Justice and Amari Swift. And when those 2 guys aren't producing, unlike Chicago and unlike Houston, they don't have anywhere to go. Jay Kingston is a great three-point shooter, but he's not an on-ball creator. Same could be said for Tyrell Kemp. They traded for Xavier Ashley. He's a good backup point guard, but he is not on par with the Aaron Larson, if you're looking at Chicago, of Rowan Jameson or of Joshua Chapman. And Chapman's not even a great on-ball creator, but he's the equivalent of the Jay Kingston, Tyrell Kemp. So Boston was in this challenging situation where, hey, if we don't get a wide open 3 from Jay Kingston off the dribble or off the pass, he's not probably going to score. Same thing for Tyrell Kemp. We didn't see Dorian Knight, who got 20 free throws in the last 3 games of that series against Brooklyn, was not did not get to the free throw line, was not able to get inside because the Chicago Bulls said, we're going to take away the three, we're going to make it beat us off the bounce. And they were unable to do that, and that's why the Boston Celtics are going home here. So as we look to the NBA Finals, this is two teams, again, that look the same, right? Two superstars, Javon Stokes, Dakota Motley, and Darnell Guest, Didi McDice, and then these just seemingly never-ending list of big playmakers, shooters, and flexible defenders. I was wrong. I thought the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals were going to go longer than they did. They wrapped up, I got both picks wrong, but they wrapped up in no time at all. It's going to be interesting to watch this matchup and see what's going to happen, because you've got a team on both sides that just look so similar to one another. For the Bulls to win this series, they're going to have to bring the Rockets inside. This is a Rockets team that is a top 10 three-point shooting team during the regular season. They've had a phenomenal postseason. They've got three guys that are shooting 46% or better from deep, and they had two guys who shot better than 64% against the Suns in Cole Herringody and Jared Malheur. But it's also a team that has the fifth fewest points in the paint in the playoffs among all 16 teams with 36, and 35.5 points in the paint during the regular season, which was eighth worst. So they are heavily reliant on the three-point shot. And much like the Bulls did against Boston, where Boston was an elite three-point shooting team, they kept the Celtics off of the paint, or off of the three-point arc. They shot sub 38% or 37% in all 5 games of that series. It's why Boston, despite having the free throw advantage, was unable to win that series. So for the Bulls, that's what you've got to do. You've got to bring the Rockets inside the paint, force them to become an interior team. And if they do that, I think the Bulls win this series. For the Rockets, they need to really take away, I hate to say it's the same thing, but take away all these options, right? Make Joshua Chapman be a playmaker on the ball. Make Aaron Larson be a three-point shooter. He's not. They have found, the Bulls have said, we've got the versatility to let Javon Stokes sit back. He can take over when he needs to, but when he doesn't need to, we've got so many options that can dominate this game. You need to take away all the other options. You can't have a Game 4, Game 5 where the Bulls had 7, 8, 9 guys scoring 10 or more points. I think they had 8 players average 10 or more points in these playoffs, or maybe it's 8 averaging 9.5 more. They have so many options. You need to take away all of these Bulls bench options. Yes, it's difficult to say let Javon Stokes beat you, but that's kind of what you have to do. You have to say, we're not going to get overwhelmed by the Avalanche. We're going to take away the Avalanche. We think we can hang tough inside with Darnell Guest switching around. We think we can win this series so long as we don't let everybody else get going, all of these bench players get comfortable, and take us down. I'm going to take Bulls in 7 because this team just has this aura of inevitability about them. They're trying to redeem themselves from last year's 3-1 collapse. They just feel right. So give me the Bulls in 7. It's not going to be easy, but it is going to be entertaining. We're coming back with the NBA Finals next.